What are you doing, Harbor? Huh? Are you picking it up? Hey, you got it under control? Go pump it. Job. Good job. All done. No, we're not doing it no more. It's good. So let's dive into this to-do list. Let me kind of show you a couple things. We'll run through this thing fast, and we'll wrap this car up for the most part. Let's go. Your timing pointer on your Coyote will go right there. So that will allow you to check timing. It goes down here on the bottom. It's kind of funky, but if you look it up online, that's how it is. So you're laying on the ground to check timing on the Coyote, but that is the points that it will mount off of, and then you have a ton of adjustment right here with your pointer. So you can move it back, up, down, forward, all kinds of stuff. I don't know where it needs to go. That's where I set it. That's a John, Chris, TKM, whoever's thing. Somebody smarter than me, not me. Next item that we need to do while we're down here is the ground strap. Jason had to undo it to do the headers, obviously, so I need to get it back on the motor. So let's get this thing hooked back up. All right, so down here, this is where it helps if you will put your motor in, transmission in, exhaust in, get the whole car done, then plumb it, then wire it. But I understand that some people are on a budget just like myself, so sometimes we start working on things and we jump the gun. So we had these transmission lines, or these actually the cooler lines, where they bolted right there. As you can see, they don't touch the headers, but they go right across the top of the headers. So with that being said, I think that's kind of stupid. We want to try to keep the header away from the cooling lines as much as we can so we don't heat the fluid up that's in the lines. So what I want to do is I'm going to move them somehow over here where they're tucked. You know, that one is still right there near it, but there's not much I can do besides replace that line with a 90 like the other one that's up there, the 90. But we just want to get the car running. So if we see crazy fluid temperatures and we see it's coming from this, then we're going to need to replace this line. It's going to need to be a 90 versus that straight. But I need to either nutsert these things kind of over here so that they're just a little bit more out the way, because the dumps are going to come right here and dump towards the camera. So if they're over here, you know, and then the dump is coming like this, it's just, you have heat soak from here all the way to here where the dump is. Like, it's literally pretty much right across top of the header the whole time, versus if we move it over here, then it's only that little bit that's, you know, near the header for a certain period of time. So I think this is gonna be more efficient. We'll have a little bit of slack back here that we need to bunch up, but I'm gonna go ahead and move this line to help hopefully eliminate some issues. Man, look at the size of that thing. All right, let's get this thing nut started. All right, so we got our lines routed up way. Let's see if we can get back here. So they come up way on the side of the transmission like that. So like I said, we only have this line, but as you can see, we have some play between there, and I'm thinking that I'm gonna go inside the car and kind of choke this one up a little like that to get even. I mean, that's 3 fingers, don't even touch. So I should be able to get like 4 fingers in there with a zip tie to pull that line up, but we've got them choked up here. And then we also went ahead and routed our transmission overflow, which comes back here to this box. We went ahead and routed this line so that it's way clear of the drive shaft, made sure all that was good. And so that it is up out of the way, because it's just like a vacuum line. So it's just made for, you know, if a little bit pushes back, but got all that cleared. On to the next task. And I'm already feeling it, man. So like being out here in the garage, something I noticed a little while back, it don't really happen at work, I guess because it's not so much up and down, but out here it's like I'm down to the floor, stand up here, get tools, back and forth, up and down, up and down, up and down. I get like nauseous feeling almost, and like kind of lightheaded. I think it might be like low iron or something. I think the wife said that's what it might be. But it sucks because if I don't bring all the tools down here with me I need, and I keep having to get up and down, then it like almost takes like a toll on you where you just kind of feel sick and you don't even feel like moving forward no more. So yeah, got to deal with that also. Let's keep going. All right, so working on this plate, this is one area that I put off because I was just still thinking about. I cut my dipstick down, so this is what my dipstick looks like. Now it can flip up, it clears all that, and we will be able to snake this out. So I can't pull it out now with one hand because it will come out of the bottom wiggling, but Mike's gonna have to weld a little thing on here that goes back to a bolt to make this rock solid, basically, so that it doesn't move, so that you can just pop this open and pull this out and you don't have to worry about the shaft coming out. But we needed to close this this access panel off. So I messed around with putting this thing back in here, you know, one of the flexible ones, but everybody knows that this thing is a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the butt to fill up transmission with, and the piece that's on the inside of here is really stiff, so it's hard to bend. And on this car, you have to route the motor so far back to the firewall, kind of hard to see, but you barely have, let's see here, let me look down there, an inch, 2 inches. But in that inch or 2 inches, you have all the stuff on the back of the motor. If you go back and watch the transmission install video, we show a good shot from under the car that you can see all the crap on the back of the motor between sensors and crossovers and all that stuff. So there's not a good place for that thing to snake down. And even if it snakes down, it would go snake down like this, and then it would go back like that, and then it would shoot down at a 90 into a transmission. So getting that thing in and out is a pain in the butt, and your dipstick would still be up here, so you'd still be filling, you know, trying to fill it around all this stuff. I guess you could try to come in through here. I don't know. Pain in the butt. You'd have that thing there. My engine bay is really tight because I've crammed this giant Coyote in here. And so I wanted to make it where you could just service the transmission from inside the car. So the lines are right here. If you need to unloosen them, the cooler lines, everything is right there. You know, the dipstick's right there. So we needed to make an access panel, actually. I had thought about having it where it like bolted in. You pulled the carpet back, unbolt it. But dude, this just, we want it quick. We have to plug that hole up there. That was from the factory. I don't even remember what it was for. I think it was drain tube for the AC. But what we're going to do is we're going to throw our carpet back over here, cut our carpet out. So our carpet will stay down at all times. And then we're going to have the panel that goes over that and Zeus's into it. Now, I cut this panel a little short by mistake. This is a learning curve, but I've hand beat this panel out. I don't have an English wheel or anything like that, so I understand it is dimpled all to hell. But I'm working with what I got. So this is done either on my leg, my knee, or on a 2x4 on the ground to get this contour, you know, with the end of a thing. I'm gonna go, I think, and slick this out with some dolphin glaze at the shop and paint this. But what we'll have is the carpet over it, and then we will have this thing where it goes in like that. And then you'll have a Zeus here, a Zeus there, and a Zeus there. This one's barely gonna catch because, like I said, I just cut it too short and I don't feel like building another one. So my silver Sharpie line is how much room I have. And I've got the Zeus between here. So I don't know if there's gonna be enough meat right there to catch the spring, but if it won't catch, then I'll just add a little piece of metal right here, you know, since I ended up not needing all that, or I'll do a little tab or something, whatever we have to do. We'll put a little tab so the Zeus can catch there, but that's where it's gonna have to go. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm laying out my Zeus's, and what we could actually do with this hole right here is we could actually do our O2. So we have to screw, our O2 has to come in and go down. So actually I think that hole will be perfect. I just gotta measure and make sure I have a rubber protector to go through the hole. But I'm working on laying out my springs, laying out my Zeus's, and I'm about to drill the holes in it like that and get these mounted up. But I figured I'd update y'all. That's what we're trying to do, is check off the transmission stuff off of the list so that we have one more thing. One thing I am thinking is maybe around the edge of this panel, ordering some fireproof tape. So you can put foam tape around there, but the whole point of this panel is your safety. If the car catches on fire, you don't want flames coming through the firewall. So you should plug up as many holes as you can. Whenever you use rubber and all that, it can just go through there. But I'm thinking, since this is right there in the floor and near them transmission lines, near the header and all that, maybe we will order a little roll of fireproof foam tape to go over this, so that when this thing Zeus is down in there, you kind of have fireproof foam tape. So if that little edge of that carpet, technically it's gonna be right there on the metal, if it catches on fire, it will roll away, but hopefully you won't have flames coming through this big 10-inch hole, you know, inside the vehicle. I don't know. It's kind of my thoughts. But either way, get these Zeus's, get this in. That's the most important thing right now. Tape will be added later. Man, imagine if I had some freaking help coming through this checklist. So this thing, I'm happy with it. But I got 2 more to go. So if we're not going to Zeus them, but if you remember, we got that one we got to build a patch panel for, and we got the big one right there. So the patch panels are actually built for that big one right there, the transmission patch panel, but the patch panel is not built for that one. We'll build that one tomorrow. That's how that one turned out. I love it. I like it. I'm definitely happy with it. Definitely glad I did it. It took a lot of work, but I'm happy with it. So like I said, we'll take this to the shop and we will dolphin glaze this out, sand this by hand, and paint this gloss black, maybe put a carbon effect over it or something, and finish tweaking. I think I need to suck in the Zeus springs a little, because you got to put a little force to reach them, but they work. So we'll undo it real fast and I'll show you. And of course, I'm not going to rivet the Zeus's to it until it's painted. But we're going to skim this really thin with dolphin glaze and primer. So that's how that will work. And then you can get right in there quickly to check your transmission fluid level, and if you need to unhook cooler lines or get to your O2. That worked out perfect right there. We'll run the O2 right there. I got to figure out how to get that in here next, but you'll be able to change out your O2 sensors without getting under the car if you need to, and all that. So I'm stoked. I'm happy with that. Like I said, we just got to smooth this thing out and probably put some door edge protector around the perimeter, and then that's one more panel sealed up. So dude, I'm definitely loving that. And you can also get 2 transmission bolts this side if you had to, like that, even though you shouldn't have no reason to. So my back is killing me, so I don't know, from leaning in here, I don't know if I'm gonna do that one tonight, because that one's gonna get nut-certed, I think, because you won't ever need to take that out unless you're pulling the whole transmission. So that one's just gonna get nut-certs. It's not gonna get Zeus's. None of them up there are gonna get Zeus's, but I might go on to another part of the checklist. We will see. All right, easy enough. I had some old radiator bushing laying around, but I mean, it's rubber. I cut it so that it fits in there. Rubber grommet. Rubber, I cut it so it fits in there. It protects the wire, and you can see your O2 sensors right here. So the beauty of this is you can get your wrench right on it. So I mean, it's super easy to work on, man. This patch, this access panel worked out perfect to catch these major points and not have to get underneath the vehicle. And the label on here says make sure you do something in the holly. So we're gonna leave that alone. We're not gonna plug that in for right now, because it says if you plug it in, it could damage it. So leave that alone. We'll talk to Chris, John, whoever about that, and we won't plug it until later. So another thing off the checklist. All right, the next piece that we are addressing, which is not necessarily to get it up and running, but it's another situation of you need to just go ahead and get it done, and it's actually not that complicated. So your Dominator has, of course, your plug that goes into your laptop that comes off of it. So I have routed it up under here through here, and then your dash also has a USB that comes up off of it for the Pro Dash, and USB goes in it. So it's either leave this cord dangling around in the floor, leave that dangling around underneath the dash, and then have to go over there to get that, over here to get that. And I believe you might use that also if you're data logging with the dash. Don't quote me on that, because I'm not 100%, so that's not a fact per se. Somebody can fact check me in the comments below, but I think so. So what we've done is we went on eBay. I actually learned this from Devin. He didn't teach me, but I stole it. So in Randy's car and a lot of your race cars, you have the fiberglass dash. So what he does is he installs these right here. Now, I'm not going to drill a hole in my metal dash for this. I wanted it a little cleaner than up here. Randy's car looks perfect because it's right here. So what you could do is put your laptop here, and then your cord goes in right there and comes out. That way you're not in the floor or anything, you know, is down there. All these are is USB extensions. So you can get 1, 2, you know, whatever. I can't remember if Randy's is a single or dual, but all it is they have a cable on them. This will plug into your cord, you know, this will plug into your cord. And then these, you know, it has a socket. You drill a hole in something and you mount it through it like that. Now, if you don't want to do it like that, it does come with this little piece like this that you can, you know, mount it to something like at a 90 if you need to fix it on something. And then it also comes with this cover. Now, I didn't like the way that this made it sit. This actually sat down below the flange on it, and the flange already sticks up. So you can see the little flange around it kind of sticks up. If I would have put that on there, it would have stuck up even more. And let's be realistic. It looks good when you first do it, but how many of us are actually going to cover this up? So what this will allow is I'll come in here when I get the label maker, which I still have not bought, and I will make a label that says dash, and I'll make a label that says Dominator or ECM or something like that. And you know, you'll be able to go right here in the center console and plug it in. You won't have to fumble around in the floor finding cords or anything. So we're going to throw this back in where it goes, and also went ahead and cut this piece of carbon because this actually has right here where it's missing these cutouts from the car this come out of, the switches that were taken out of it. So I went ahead and cut this piece of carbon I had to just cover it up. And if anybody's asking, that center console comes out of a Mercury Mariner. I'm sorry, a Nissan Murano. It's one I had bought, bad transmission, so we used a bunch of parts off of it. I wrapped the dash out of it, or the center console. There's a bottom piece that has carpet that goes on it because that center console sits way higher, but you can take the bottom sides off. And then I just took all the centers out, and then I made my own carbon insert, you know, with the shifter that goes on it like that. And then we have the stainless cup holder, which is for a boat. You just go on eBay or Amazon and order boat cup holder or stainless cup holder, and that has double-sided tape that holds it down. I just haven't installed it. I don't think I will, but street car, so you got to have a cup holder. But that's what that's out of if you're curious. I can't remember the year. I want to say for y'all to look around 02 to 08, you know, just take a peek in them cars that you're pick and pull, and you might find that center console. But yeah, we're going to snap this back in place. And I just noticed on this, I didn't notice this before, that of course your dash, your USB plugs into there like that. And then I didn't realize that on the Dominator, it actually has a male USB because this will plug into the computer. Totally missed that. So what I'm gonna have to do is, I'm sure they make it, but I'm gonna have to get on eBay and find a male-to-male adapter for USB, because this extension has males on it also. So this one will go in fine for the screen, but it's not going to plug in for the ECU. So we'll make sure we leave these wires kind of hanging out the front for right now, or back here or something. We'll make them where we can get to them in case the adapter doesn't come in time for first startup. But I'm pretty sure that somebody probably makes male-to-male adapters. But we'll get on there and look. So we're going to plug out what we can and just leave the rest of the wires loose right now. And I already have a feeling that this piece is going to be popping out every pass. So probably need to go ahead and try to get some screws through it, or down here through the bottom. Probably right there would be the best underneath this pad so you can't see it, because we all know that when you get to the track, then things start popping out. It's annoying. But that's how that looks. So your little USB, you know, download chip will go right there. And then your other one, whenever you get it hooked up, you'll have your laptop, you'll just plug your cord in right there versus, you know, like you normally would do. So I guess I also need to order, let's see here, a male USB to a male USB cable, long enough to get to the roof of the car. That way it stays with the laptop. All right, so we had to put the hole in the hood for the intake. If you are an OG2 channel, you remember how much time I spent on lining this hood. So I'm not really trying to deal with that again. So I went ahead and just cut it on the car like that. Put a towel down, cut it at a really slow speed so it don't sling it everywhere. You're still gonna get a little bit all over the car, but we'll clean that up. But one thing I wanted to show y'all, just in case you were doing something like this, is there's not that much down there, okay? There's not that much all over the place, because here's why. It's all right there on the tape. So what I do is I back tape, just like when you're painting, you know. In this situation, if you're cutting something like this and you got everything falling in the area and it's running down, you know, you can obviously put your piece of back tape there. And a lot of that metal is gonna stick to the tape. And now all we gotta do is we're gonna take the vacuum cleaner, gently clean up all of this without scratching the car all up, and gently pull the tape off and put it in the trash can. Take the blanket outside, because it caught a lot of it too, or the towel, and shake it out. But figured I would just point that out to you, or sometimes you can just think outside the box and use your piece of tape to catch, you know, a bunch of shavings that are falling this way. So let's get this mess cleaned up. Well, besides this little one right here interrupting me, Harper Joe, why do you keep interrupting Daddy? Huh? What are you watching? Bingo the puppy? Where's the puppy at? I know. He's out there on TV. All right, Harper, who is that? Is that frogs? Is it like frog 1, frog 2? Wow. Which one's frog 1? Wow. He's frog 1, and which one's that one? Me. Yeah. So we got, between Harper yelling, wanting food, refrigerator trips every minute, we got the tube cut, the intake all around it, got that set in there, and then got the trim ring put on. So I'm gonna have Mike actually weld a little brace to the side of it, back to like the another piece just for a brace so it don't move and it's just not all depending on that rubber coupling. So got it on with the rubber coupling right now. Need to make some adjustments, but at least we got all of that done. So we're gonna keep it moving. I think we're gonna move back to the 4-link now and finalize all the bolts and washers. And yes, this piece has to be trimmed down and cut off, but I think I'm gonna wait and do it at the shop because I have a lot more precise body tools at the shop than I do here at the house. And since it's gonna make a mess, might as well make the mess at the shop versus in my garage. So we're gonna leave it tall until we get to the shop.